Welcome back everyone, and it's time for UFC Fight Night Vegas 78, Luque vs Dos Anjos. We've got a main card and a prelim card, and a prelim card with 7 fights and a main card with 6 fights. So the first fight of the prelim card is in the women's flyweight division, and it is Juliana Miller taking on Luana Santos. Juliana Miller lost her last fight back in April of this year. It was April, and Luana Santos is making her debut in the UFC. Both have even records. They're at the very beginning of their career, their MMA career. So for this one, there's also no betting odds. So if I have to predict somebody to win, I'm gonna go with Juliana Miller because she's been in the UFC for a longer time, of course. So I'm gonna predict her to win, and maybe by decision, because I really don't know about both of them. Next, in the men's bantamweight division, we've got Damon Blackshear taking on Jose Johnson. Damon Blackshear, I saw one of his fights earlier this year. It was in June, and he won this fight. But Jose Johnson is also making his debut in the UFC, so relatively unknown to me. So no-brainer for this one. I'm gonna pick Damon Blackshear to get the win, even though I say a lot that newcomers in the UFC should get the win to maximize their debut. But for this one, I feel like Damon Blackshear is gonna, how could I say? Damon Blackshear is gonna win to continue his win streak. Next, in the women's strawweight division, we've got Jacqueline Amorim taking on Montserrat Ruiz or Conejo. You'll have to tell me because I was confused by how she was called by anyone really. It was either Ruiz or Conejo. Anyway, so for this one, Jacqueline Amorim comes off a loss earlier this year also. She was undefeated before joining the UFC, but she lost her debut. As for Montserrat Conejo, she was on a 2-year layoff, and she just returned to the UFC right now, August 2023. So I guess we'll see. As far as the betting odds, Jacqueline Amorim is the favorite, so I'm gonna side with her to get the win. How, I don't know. Maybe a decision, or maybe a victory for Montserrat Conejo by a finish. We'll have to see. Next, in the heavyweight division, we've got Josh Parisian taking on Martin Buday. So yeah, Josh Parisian against Martin Buday. I'm gonna go with Martin Buday right away because he's on a 11 fight win streak, and he's been in the UFC for quite some time, so he's on a roll right now. I don't think Josh Parisian is gonna stop him. It's not going to be the one to stop him. Also, he's the favorite in betting odds. Speaking of Martin Buday, still. How I see a finish, heavyweight, knockout power guaranteed, so a knockout finish for sure. Maybe in the second round. Next, in the men's featherweight division, we've got Francis Marshall taking on Isaac Dolgorian. And for this one, it's kind of tough. There are both at the beginning of their MMA careers. Francis Marshall has a almost perfect record. He just lost earlier this year. Before that, he was undefeated, of course. And as for Isaac Dolgarian, he's making his debut in the UFC, and he has a 100% finish rate, and more importantly, he has a 100% finish rate in the first round. All his finishes are in the first round. So, it would seem logic, kind of a pattern here, that Isaac Dolgarian picks up the win, maybe by submission, in the first round for his debut in the UFC. We go to the lightweight division as Terrence McKinney takes on Mike Breeden. For this one, there are no betting odds, and that doesn't surprise me since both of them are on losing streaks. But this one is not tough to call. I would say that since Mike Breeden, has failed to get a win in the UFC yet, and Terrence McKinney has more experience in the UFC. Terrence McKinney is going to bounce back, get back in the win column, and pick up the win by decision. Simple as that. Next, we go to the men's bantamweight division as GP Buys takes on Marcus McGee. For this one, it's kind of interesting, I would say. Once again, we got the return of GP Buys after 1 year of layoff. Also, he's coming off maybe 4 or 5 losses, at least 4 losses, 4-fight losing streak then in the UFC. So Marcus McGee is on a 3-fight win streak, actually. And he's the favorite in the betting odds. Pretty important favorite, so no-brainer to me that he's going to pick up the win. And probably by a finish, let's say a TKO finish in the 3rd round for Marcus McGee. And that's it for the prelim card, meaning we now move on to the main card. And the first fight of the main card takes place in the middleweight division. And we've got Josh Fremd taking on Jamie Pickett. Josh Fremd got back in the win column earlier this year. I can't remember the month and what event it was, but got a win. And Jamie Pickett is on a 3-fight losing streak as of right now. So I'm gonna side once again with the betting odds that favors Josh Fremd. This time he's pretty important favorite. How he's gonna get the win? Maybe a decision win. I don't see Jamie Pickett being finished this time around. He's maybe even gonna win. We'll never know. But for this one, I've got Josh Fremd. He just got back in the win column, so maybe he's gonna continue a streak and build a streak. Next fight on the card is also in the middleweight division. We've got AJ Dobson taking on Tafon Nchukwi. They have pretty even records. They're pretty similar. They're at the beginning of their career, I guess. They're both on losing streak. I think it's 2-fight losing streak for AJ Dobson and maybe 3 for Nchukwi. No, it's 2 actually. Okay. Well, the difference is between the two that Tafon Nchukwi won his debut in the UFC and had a victory in the UFC, which is not the case for AJ Dobson. He wasn't defeated before joining the UFC, but he failed to win a fight yet. So for this one, even if it's a small favorite, I'm gonna go and pick Tafon Nchukwi to get the win by decision. Next, in the women's strawweight division, we go back to it. We've got Poliana Viana taking on Yasmin Lucindo. Hope I pronounced that right. To me, Poliana Viana is gonna get the win. even though Yasmin Lucindo is the favorite. But they are both on a 1-fight win streak. That's not even a streak, so just one fight. They got back in the win column. And this is going to be entertaining, for sure. Yet, to me, Poliana is going to get the win. Also note that she has 12 first round finishes out of 13 finishes. She has a 100% finish rate. So if she wins, the fight is going to be a finish. Is it the same for Yasmin Lucindo? No, she doesn't have a 100% finish rate. So for this reason, I'm going to pick Poliana Viana to get the win. Maybe by submission. Next, in the light heavyweight division, we've got 13th ranked Khalil Roundtree Jr. taking on 14th ranked Chris Daukaus. So for this one, I saw both fighters fight before. Daukaus is on a pretty bad losing streak. I think it's 3 right now. And he started like a long time ago, years ago. He doesn't fight much. Chris Daukaus. That I can understand. That's not criticism. Just he doesn't fight much. As for Khalil Roundtree Jr., he's actually on a winning streak. My apologies. On a 3-fight winning streak. So for this reason, and this is why I think he entered the ranking and also got above Chris Daukaus in the rankings, I'm going to predict Khalil Roundtree Jr. to get the win. Maybe by a finish, maybe a submission win. We'll have to see. Next, for the co-main event, we go back to the men's featherweight division as Cub Swanson takes on Hakeem Dawodu. Now, actually, Hakeem Dawodu is the favorite in this fight, even though he lost his last fight almost a year ago. We saw a lot of times this year veterans beating up-and-comers and not unknown fighters, but younger fighters. So for this one, I'm going to pick Cub Swanson to get the win by submission in the 3rd round. Although in the betting odds, Hakeem Dawodu is the favorite. But I'm going to pick Cub Swanson to get the win by submission in the 3rd round. And with that, we'll go to the main event, taking place in the welterweight division. And we've got 10th ranked Vicente Luque taking on 9th ranked Rafael Dos Anjos. Well, this one's going to be tough to call. Vicente Luque is, how could I say? He was close to the top, then he lost twice, and it was last year. It was in 2022 that he lost, and he fought his last fight. So that's going to be tough to call. Of course, there's no reason he couldn't come back from this, and against someone that was also close to the top, Rafael Dos Anjos, a former lightweight champion. But Rafael Dos Anjos fought more than Vicente Luque, so tough to call. Also, Rafael Dos Anjos switches from welterweight to lightweight, So if he has victories in lightweight, does that count for welterweight? Maybe not. Anyway, if I have to pick someone to win, I think it's going to be Vicente Luque. Maybe to go back and attempt to get a title shot at some point in time in the future. How is going to get the win? Maybe a decision win. A 5-round fight. I don't know. For this one, I don't know. Even in betting odds, Rafael Dos Anjos is a slight favorite. But really slight. So, for this one, I have no clue. Really, I would like Vicente Luque to win by decision, but in a 5-round fight, that doesn't seem most likely to happen. Yeah. And that's it for my predictions for UFC Fight Night Vegas 78. So I leave you there. Until next time, bye.